Hey guys, Anthony Delmedico, SVG founder, CEO. I'm here with Derik Kline, founder and CEO of HailTrace. We're talking today about storm mapping and future trends and changes in storm mapping technology. I know some of you guys are out there, your storm chasers and hardcore insurance restoration contractors. I know a lot of you are starting to wake up to this opportunity and start to realize that all contractors, whether you're a storm chaser or whether it's going to hit your backyard, because it's going to hit your backyard sooner or later, correct?
That's right.
All contractors, all licensed contractors need to have a specific set of tools in their arsenal, whether they're a storm chaser or a retail contractor, which we call a storm catcher, who's going to sit at home and eventually probably get hit with a hailstorm, a tornado, a windstorm, or some kind of catastrophic event that's going to have an impact on their customers and properties. And if they don't have this specific set of tools in their arsenal, the right contracts, forms, documents, the right storm mapping technology, the storm chasers are going to come in and eat their market share for breakfast. So, when we're talking about storm mapping, we're talking about reaching out to not only the insurance restoration contractors, but also the retail contractors. That's what SVG does. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the future trends in storm mapping and predicting storms. Why don't you go ahead and tell us, Derik, a little bit about HailTrace?
Well, so HailTrace obviously is a storm mapping company. We've been in business now for 7 years. It's kind of hard to believe. May 16th.
You're at Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, May 16th, 2010. Everybody remembers May 16th, right? You have to, the big
one.
Nichols Hills, right? I think that's the one that made this thing go on the map, right? So that launched me into business, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The growth has been amazing, and growth in radar technology. I mean, you'd be shocked at what from 2010 to today, how much of a difference there is in radar technology, how much more accurate we can be. Then in technology is just, with computers and software and all the different things that you can do that you couldn't do in the past, and it's just absolutely amazing where the industry has come from 2010 to today.
Well, I'll tell you, I can remember I got in this business in 1999, knocking doors.
Yeah.
No Google Earth.
Right.
No satellites. At least not doing this kind of stuff. No hill prediction. And what we did is we'd get a blip on NOAA. There'd be a storm report, and you'd hear like a 2-inch report, and you'd get Edina, Minnesota.
That's right.
And we'd have to drive in or fly in. A lot of times we were flying in or driving in, and we'd spend 2 or 3 days driving around.
Right.
We'd get the old street map book, a yellow highlighter. We'd mark out where we saw, it was with the binoculars. We're looking at the whirlybird spinning at dented vents. We're like, yeah, it looks on a 1 to 5. That's about a 5. That's a heavy damage. It would go grid square by grid square and literally make our hail map driving for 72 hours.
Right.
And now everybody gets almost instantaneously the same report that took us 3 days to do. And I'll tell you, there wasn't a lot of guys. There were guys in the business that back then, but if you didn't have a lot of money and resources to get out there and scout, because you could actually hear of a 4-inch report in the middle of Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Or the farm fields of Iowa. And you'd fly out there, you'd go an hour outside of Des Moines. Sure enough, there's no houses out here because we didn't have Google Earth to actually see what kind of houses. So now, with all the technology, which is great, by the way, but it's also made everybody have the same access to the same technology.
That's exactly right.
So you got to be fast because speed to market, the technology has changed the ability for contractors to speed to that market.
You got to up your game, that's for sure.
Get up your game.
It's a definite trend that's changed in the market is how quick people get to those storms. And we talked about earlier when we were just kind of hanging out at lunch, and we talked about how the technology is great, but there's still some of that old school that we have to use. Right.
Yeah, you always got to support it.
You never want to transition. In fact, HailTrace has taken on the policy that we don't use the algorithms, the technology to map our storms because we still know that there's value in the human mind. Right. There's things that the human mind can do that a computer cannot do, right? Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. I'm glad that we don't.
Well, I think the storm reports even about the better ones. And there's some good ones out there. There's a couple other ones, but I mean, they're probably still 80-90% accurate in terms of, you can still go to any of these storms. We'll look at a few here in a few minutes here. That big Dallas storm, but you can find pockets of not only old storms, but possibly pockets that the weather report or your guys' research technology missed.
Right.
And if a guy gets out there and he starts with boots on the ground, he might find a whole pocket of 500 or 1,000 homes that nobody else found because he got out there and scouted with boots on. We call it boots on the ground. Get out there and actually scout and find the sleepers or the pockets that the technology missed. That's part of the game.
Yeah. That's what makes it fun, and that happens. Radar, it updates every 2.5 to 3 minutes. So what happens in between that 2.5 3 minute period, right? That's exactly right. Nobody knows. So
one man's blackout's another man's treasure.
Right. That's exactly right. So I mean, this technology is designed to do a lot of great things for you. If you're going to fly across the country, the next day flight's not going to be cheap. is it worth doing? This technology is great for something like that.
Right.
If you have customers that have been hit by a storm and you want to get a list of those customers, this technology is great for something like that. If you need to know kind of where to get started, this technology is great for something like that. But you're never going to take away that you might be able to go a half a mile or a quarter of a mile into this little neighborhood over here and find this little nook, and
right.
Before you know it, you've got 100 roofs done.
Boots on the ground. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of your technology. So what are we looking at here, Derik? What are we looking at?
Well, this is a lot of people are going to love this. This is the Dallas storm that just occurred just a couple of days ago. Yeah, I mean this is a hot storm, right? We're talking softball size hail.
So what's the big red blob there?
Yeah,
I'm talking for the new guys. I know a lot of the experienced guys and all this, but let's talk about the color variations.
Let's do that. Let's just break it down to the bare minimum here for them. So you've got your yellow areas, right? Your yellow areas are going to be your smaller hail. That's going to be your quarters, your couple of $50 mixed in there. You've got your orange area right here. That's going to be your ping pong balls, your golf balls. You might start getting into some damage there.
I like the ping pongs.
Yeah, that's right. These are going to be some of those outskirt areas that you talked about. Get some boots on the ground, see what's in those areas. Then you've got your red here, and this is where we're starting to get into some serious hail.
It's 2.5 to 4 inch.
The red is golf ball, so that's 1.75 to 2.5.
You say red? Are you talking about the red over here? Or are you talking about the pumpkin?
The pumpkin right here.
Pumpkin
yeah.
Red. Okay.
So we'll go back to that.
So that's the golf ball.
So the red is where you really start to get into some serious hail right in here. This is where you start to get into the golf ball to tennis ball size hail. We're really talking about some serious damage.
Just give you a little headache if it hits you in the head.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Just a little bump. But you're still going to live. And then we get into the dead stuff here. This is the stuff that breaks bricks, sledgehammers to the hoods of cars. This is your.
That's possibly breaking the decking. That could be a redeck in some situations.
In fact, I've already seen some roofs tarped in this area. So this was some serious hail damage, and a lot of that was on houses that just were re-roofed. So these are brand new roofs already getting redecked again.
Let me ask you a question. One of the things for a lot of new folks who might be watching us, what I like about this is that we can actually move down through Google Earth. Can you do a little? Can you move this down
let's zoom in. Let's take a look at
some of these
area.
rooftops. I like to see what I might go selling. I don't want to be selling trailer homes when I can sell 80 square comps.
That's right. So let's go in here and let's see what we got.
See, that's what I like. I like the acreage.
So we just picked a spot. Look at these. These look like some good ones. I like this right here. Let's see what we got.
Oh yeah!
Wow, now that's money.
2-3 stories steeps with pools in the backyard, baby.
There we go, and there's your address.
60, 70 squares.
They're going to get knocked on about 10 times now, right?
See, this is what I'm talking about. 1999, we had to fly in and drive around to find that.
Right.
And use binoculars.
That's right.
And now with Google Earth and the ability to superimpose the damage over these areas, we can scout from afar and know in minutes, where do we want to scout, where do we want to put our troops, do we want to open up?
Right.
Right?
Right, and what's great is, take a look at this. We've also got, this house was hit in April. And this house was hit of 2016. They were also hit in 2011. So
we're seeing our past data.
Yeah, so we're seeing all the past storms that have hit. And that can come in handy again, finding those honey holes, right? Now, this is not a honey hole by any means, but, finding those honey holes can come in handy.
That's not too bad for a honey hole. It's like 60 square steeps right there.
You could make a little money on that, right?
So now let's back off. Let's move around a little bit through there. Because that's actually a nice little area. I would actually send the guys into blitz that area.
It just continues.
See, I like the long drive. Yep, there we go. The long driveways, the 1 acre lots are always the bigger homes.
That's right.
That's actually
get your 10,000 steps in.
What is that? Rolling Acres Drive. I think I'm gonna send that to the telemarketing company.
There you go, right there. 1332 Rolling Acres Drive, right there.
There we go. Those are
makes it super easy. The great part is the satellite image of this area in about 6 months is going to have blue roofs on it from all the tarps that they're going to have to put on.
So let's roll. So that's the heavy damage. So we know everybody and their grandma's gonna be running to those areas. Yeah. Let's zoom out and check some marginal stuff.
Yeah. So let's go back here. Let's take a look.
See, my strategy when I was a sales, actually when I was knocking doors, I figured out real quickly. Everybody's running to the red blob.
That's right.
Right? Because now everybody's got the same technology, so they're running fast.
Yeah.
So I was out here in one of these areas. I actually took a day and scouted around. We called it an encirclement strategy. We scouted around into the yellows and the oranges. We knew that heavy damage was. We knew there's some good areas there, but we knew everybody was running there. And so we'd actually scout around and we would map out all the little gated communities or the big gated communities, the secret areas, the long driveways, out what I call the fringe. And we would start dropping their guys in, and we'd create an encirclement strategy around the storm. You with me?
Yeah.
And so by the time everybody else was moving this way from the saturated areas, we were moving this way, but we already had our encirclement strategy done.
I see. Yeah, a great strategy, right? So let's say on this particular storm, we zoomed in here, but let's zoom back out. We can see Prosper, Texas had some hail. It wasn't ginormous by any means. It was smaller, but we're going to encircle it, right?
By the way, we call that Midwest hail.
Midwest hail, that's right.
That's the normal Midwest hail. In Texas, the light hail, that's the heavy Midwest hail.
Chicago's having a great time.
Hail, there you go.
So now we can go in here and we can do some inspections in here. We can see if there's any damage.
Can we scroll down a little bit and just see the size of those homes there? Okay, so those are still pretty decent. A lot of two-story steeps, a lot of cut-up valleys. Boy, they'd be happy they got eye roofing and eagle view and all that now. You used to have to measure those by hand and just take it over. That'd be a mess to measure those.
Right. Technology, right? It just keeps getting better.
That's a lot of homes right there.
Look at all those, yeah. You know? I mean, and you can see they're all over up in here, right? And like you said, the encirclement, so let's say that there's not any damage there. If there is, obviously, we're going to work that for a long time. But if there's not, then we can just jog our way down in here.
Jog our way over into the lighter orange.
Yeah, and so we can come in here and we can say, all right, let's, we're half a mile away, and look, here's another great neighborhood. And well, these are a little smaller, but there's a ton of them in there.
Tons of them. That's where you put your green beans side by side.
That's right. Get them in there, let them learn, right?
Hey guys, side by side. Yeah. Sign up 5 on a Saturday.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, and then if there's no damage there, look, we're half a block outside of being in the red area, and we just keep working our way in,
nice.
and making money. That's what it's all about.
Another strategy, Derek. I scroll out a little bit. One thing I used to do real quickly, because I noticed a lot of the bigger homes are on golf courses, and lakes. Yeah. So if we kind of cruise around in some of these other marginal areas,
check this out. Let's do this. Let's just
find a golf course and a lake, because that's going to bring us right to some real nice areas.
Let's just find the golf courses on here. So we'll just do a search for golf courses on the map. It's actually going to pull a search of all the golf courses that were hit here. So let's get it in here. Let's see if our internet will load it up here for us. We'll get actually a list of all the golf courses. There they are. So all these blue eyes.
Yeah, let's scroll.
Platinum golf. So let's go.
Golf
let's go take a look at that one here.
Usually the homes around here are a little nicer.
Yeah, they don't.
Not always, but usually.
They're not too bad.
There we go.
That's not too bad, right?
2 stories, steep, 40, 50 squares.
Right.
Yeah, so I would always find a golf course. Now this is before you had all this technology.
Sure.
This is great. But I'd look up the golf courses. I'd find the lakes. I'd go up those winding driveway roads. I'd look around through Google Earth around the lakes.
Yeah.
Find the big homes, and just a great way to find those large homes.
That's right. And like I said, it's designed to make it easy for you. And obviously, a lot of the stuff that we talked about is for the storm chasers,
right.
The storm catchers. I mean, there's plenty of things that they can do too. What are some things that you recommend? I mean, you've had some guys.
Yeah, a lot of guys, a lot of retail contractors, roofing and GC are calling in here like, man, I'm tired of these storm chasers coming in. And a storm hits my backyard. I open up my window. Here I'm waiting for my phone to ring for my past customers. I look out my window and there's like 50 yard signs popped up in a couple weeks from these guys that came in from across state lines or different areas. I'm like, that's because you got to have the right tools in your arsenal.
Right.
You got to know when a storm hits.
Exactly.
That's like your hail alert systems. You got to have the right contracts, forms, documents in your arsenal, and you got to know how to train those salespeople to go out and get the business, because people can't see on top of their roof, so they're not going to call you. They're going to wait for so and so to do this. And that's the door knocking, personal selling. And so, we try to train the storm catchers that, look, you might not be, you don't need these tools to be a storm chaser, but eventually, due to the increased propensity of storms, you're eventually going to get hit with a hurricane, a tornado, a hailstorm, a windstorm, something that's going to affect a large swath of your property owners. And if you don't have these tools, whether it's storm scouting technology or the right contracts, forms, documents to be able to go out and sign that business up, or how to train those salespeople to detect it with like the new SVG virtual training, you're not going to win the game. And you might wake up one day and find out that, I don't care if you've been in business 80 years, you might wake up one day and find out those guys took all your market share and ate it for breakfast, and now they're the new players in town because they understood the game. And they're helping property owners out. Now they're getting all those referrals.
It's a painful morning when you wake up and find out that 100 of your customers just got a new roof put on by somebody else.
I used to be one of those guys.
that would sting so bad. I could only imagine. And that's just taking that technology to the next level. If you're a storm catcher, you should know when your customers get hit with hail. They should get an email.
You got to know what's going on in your backyard.
They should get an email immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at 9 o'clock at night. We can send emails. They should get an email, and they should know that as soon as the storm chaser.
Is that what your CRM program does?
Yeah. So you take a look right here.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
we basically got it to where it automatically creates a list of all the customers that were hit, what size of hail. Now this is an older storm.
So if I'm a client, if I'm a roofing contractor client, I go ahead and enter the customers in that I'm signing.
Right.
Going forward, I build my own mini CRM in your program.
Yep.
And then what does the program do?
So it's gonna alert you when they get hit with hail, which is great, right? That text message that you get or that email that you get at 7 o'clock at night that says you have customers that have been hit with hail.
So I could be sitting in Mexico.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I get my backyard gets hit with hail, and all my high-end customers in a certain gated community get hit, and I can start calling going, hey, my boys will be out there Monday morning. I might not be there. I'm still in Mexico, but I'm going to get some guys out there because I don't want the other guys to sign you up.
That's exactly right.
So speed to market.
That's exactly right. And so we, in fact, Dallas, a prime example of that is we've got a client in Dallas, not a big guy, but he's got 110 people that were hit by that storm that hit Dallas last week or earlier this week. And you don't think he's going to make money off of that? Just off of those, but he's going to get some neighbors too, and he's going to spread out across those areas. He's going to be making some serious money when that comes to fruition, and he's not going to have a storm chaser stealing all of his customers.
So you have a mini CRM program built into your hail reporting. I haven't seen that before. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So the idea is that hail, our business revolves around hail. So why shouldn't everything else revolve around it as well? There's too much information that we can know if we knew information about the hail that we could use to utilize this. So whether it's canvassing, where you can jump in here and you can do some canvassing, or maybe it's even just as far as keeping track of customers. So you go in here and you create a new lead or whatever it is, and give the lead a name, and save all the information for the lead, and then boom, it's done. So now you've got a new customer. You get alerted when that customer's hit. You can track your jobs through there. So it does a lot of really great things. Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing is that it keeps track of how much damage they have, what type of roof they have, when it was roofed last.
And it also keeps track of a history of the hailstorms, correct?
Exactly.
And history.
So we've got a history of every time that they've been hit with hail. We've got a history of what type of shingle they have, because a 3-tab shingle might get damaged in quarter size hail, but an impact resistance probably not. So that has some value to us.
So they're low. So as we're rebuilding the roofs, they're actually loading that data.
Exactly.
On the new roof that they put on.
Exactly.
So they're going to know, okay, got it.
Yeah, and then of course before and after photos and damage photos and all that fun stuff. You got to keep track of all that, and that all goes in here. So lots of really cool stuff that you can do. But again, it just has to revolve around the hail data.
Excellent.
It makes too much sense not to when all of your business comes from that, or at least a big majority of it.
Well, it's changed. Sure changed a lot in the last 17 years, that's for sure.
It's definitely been amazing.
So Derik, one thing I was explaining earlier, this is before we had all this cool hail mapping technology. Pretty much the only thing we had was an older version of NOAA. These older versions of NOAA,
right?
The storm report.
Yeah.
And we would literally get a blurb, by the center, and they didn't have good trained spotters back then.
There's some good value in NOAA, especially if you're starting out, or it's free. It's out there. Just go out and grab it. It's right there for the taking.
I know you hail map companies are pretty fast, but it's also fairly fast with the spotter system. But nothing beats having a hail map, because your guys can use that as a tool to blow up, put it on the walls, and really focus some strategy. But one thing I want to point out to the guys is something we call sleepers. One of my favorite sleepers. So if you look at these different hail drops that occurred on NOAA, and you could certainly do this with a regular hail map. But a lot of times finding those outliers, like, I'll just pick one at random here. Sterling, Illinois, 2-inch hail. Where is Sterling, Illinois? I don't even know. But sometimes you look some of these up. That was actually the first 2-inch hail to hit the state of Illinois in 2017. Was that actual 2-inch hail report? We go ahead and look up Sterling, and we look up the census data. Sterling, Illinois population maps. Okay, most guys, if you're a storm chaser, you're not going to run to Sterling, Illinois, and chase a population of 5,000 or 8,000 people. There's actually 15,000 people there in 2015, and you got about 8,000 households. Okay, you're probably not going to chase Sterling, Illinois from out of state. But if you're in the state of Illinois and you're an hour or two away, and business is dried up, you might send 2 guys over there and set up shop, and you might find out there's not any stormer in town. You might find out that there's no roofing company in town. It might be one of the smaller towns that doesn't have a roofing company in town. And you could literally have this whole, now this got hit with 2-inch hail. Now how do I know about this? Because I actually put this up on our private Facebook page not too long ago, teaching guys how to look for sleepers. And 2 guys, sure enough, went out to Sterling, this little town of Sterling, and they signed up about 10 or 15% of the town. Last I checked, nobody was there. And so this census data can get us, I'm not saying everybody should chase the small outliers, but there's nothing for that top sales producer, that owner, that finds that sleeper with 2-3-inch hail and nobody's there, because 30 squares is 30 squares of State Farm. They don't care if it's in Sterling or if it's downtown Chicago, it's going to go off Xactimate and they're going to get paid. So, you know, a lot of times you can clean up and make a great year. You only need to sign and build 500 homes times 10,000 to get 5 million in sales.
That's right. I think anybody would take 500, right?
I think if you got into a little place like Sterling, you might be able to ink up 500 homes before anybody knows what's going on.
That's right.
So man, those sleepers are part of the game, and I found out a long time ago. I got good in sales at knocking doors, signing deals. As a company owner, we train a lot of sales guys how to do it. And what I found is the $1 million producers, the guys doing 1, 2, 3 million a year, not only they know how to sell, but they knew how to scout and they knew how to use the technology.
That's exactly right.
But really how to scout and find those sleepers, because you can find sleepers even in a big storm.
Oh yeah.
You know, off the beaten path that didn't make the radar.
Oh yeah.
Or missed the. Maybe it was an old storm and it's just sitting there. And we've seen a lot of guys do real well because they found those pockets and those sleepers.
Right. Hell is hell. It doesn't matter where it falls.
Which required old school scouting on the ground in addition to technologies.
That's
We're
right.
big on that.
Put them both together, and you're going to be more effective every
we
time.
talk about that in the new SVG virtual training, how to do, how to combine old school scouting along with the technology of the day.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So where do you, it's 2017. Where are we going this year?
Man,
it's cooking up early.
Oh, it is. We're on pace right now to have the busiest hail season that the U.S. has ever had. That would be 2011.
So April's going to be a whopper.
I would expect April to be a whopper. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have the busiest, but we are going to finish above average. And the last time that happened was 2012. So there's good things coming. If you haven't found your storm yet, just hang on. It's coming. There's a lot of good storms still to come. I can see them lined up to Russia right now. So
we're looking forward to having you back at Win the Storm. We're talking about all the storms. Win the Storm. Last winter was in mine. We're going back to Vegas. HailTrace, look forward to having you there. Thanks for coming out to SVG today.
Thank you, Anthony.
Booyah, baby.